As part of our new evaluation model, we are required to survey our students regarding how they feel about us as a professional. So I've come up with 5 questions that I'll be using to survey my students. They're pretty basic questions. I work with younger students, so I want to keep the wording pretty simple for them. So in order for you to create your survey using Google Forms, you're going to select New, select Google Forms, and you'll be able to put your questionnaire into this format. Now you want to come up with a nice title. So I'm calling this one Counselor Survey. And I like to use the grid type of question. What we're going to do for the rows is we're going to list all of our questions here, and then the columns, that's where the students will have their responses. So for these questions, I can just say something like yes, no, not sure, whatever works for your students. It really is more so dictated by their age. So we're going to copy these questions, highlight them, and hit Control-C. And then you go over here to the first row, and you're going to paste them by hitting Control-V. So again, we had 5 questions, and we have 5 rows, so that works out perfectly. For the columns, that's where we're going to have our answers. I'm going to keep this pretty basic and just say yes or no. We're going to require 1 response per row because we do want to see what the students are thinking. And for our question title, we're just going to give them the directions in here because our questions are already listed down here. So you might just say something simple like, please select yes or no for each statement. So that's what your survey, that's how it looks when you start filling it out. If your students have a login, you can limit the number of responses. The downside of that, though, is the students will know that you know how they've responded, and sometimes you get more honest responses if the survey is more anonymous. So you click Done, and this is what your survey is going to look like when the students receive it in their email. This is what it will look like when it pops up. It's pretty basic, nothing too fancy. If you want to change the way your survey looks, you go to Change Theme, and you can select from one of many themes over here. So maybe we'll make our form a different color. You can do that. You can select books because we're in a school. And if you want to see what it looks like, again, you just select the View Live form. And this is what your survey will look like for the students. So I'm just going to fill this one out so that you'll see how the responses look. And you hit Submit. And you go over to your Google Drive, and this is the survey that we just created. This is the corresponding Google Sheet for the survey. This is where the responses will go. So when you open that up, we have filled out the survey once so far. You'll see all of the responses in here. So right up here, this is the question right at the top. I know a few reasons why a student would want to see a school counselor. And each of the questions, as you go across, you can see them, and you can see the responses here, yes or no, or whatever other options you give to your students. So at the end, once you get your responses, what you can do is count up how many yeses, no's, or sometimes whatever responses that the students were allowed to select. You can easily count them in Google Sheets, and you'll get a sense of how the students feel about you as a counselor. So those are the questions there. Now, if you want to send this out to your students, what you're going to do is go back to your survey that you just created, and you select Send Form. You can copy and paste this link into an email if you want to send it out to the students that way, or if you have a group list, you can just copy and paste their emails into this box right here. Some of us don't have access to that list, but the teachers do, so you might just send the teachers the link so that they can share it with their students. So that's how you would create your survey, and you would send it out to the students. If for some reason your students are really little and this might be difficult for them to select these boxes, you can even print out your survey and give it to them so that they can color in the little circles and still complete the survey.